The media is reporting that there is a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah, but that's not true. There's not a ceasefire agreement. So I'm going to give you the truth of what we are actually looking at here and why it is being played up by the United States to be a whole lot more than it actually is. And so we're going to get into that right away. But this agreement that we're talking about is a truce agreement. It's not a full ceasefire. They're hoping it will become a full ceasefire, but for the time being, it is a 60-day truce. The agreement has been made between Israel, the United States, the United Nations, and the government of Lebanon, but not by Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a political party within the Lebanese government. They are not beholden to the Lebanese government in any meaningful way. It may be that they will abide by this, even though they have not agreed to this. As a matter of fact, if you look at the things that Hezbollah has put out, what's left of Hezbollah lately, it has been very belligerent. And if you look at what Hezbollah has been doing over the last couple of days, they've fired more than 500 rockets and missiles and drones into Israel. That's obviously pretty aggressive. For their part, Israel has been doing the same thing, taking out everybody on their target list before this truce comes into effect. But you need to understand that if you hear that being reported that there's a ceasefire agreement in Lebanon with Hezbollah, that is not correct. Now, the Lebanese government, they've agreed to send troops into the southern part of Lebanon and to make sure that Hezbollah leaves that part of Lebanon and goes north of the Litani River, that Hezbollah does not have any military infrastructure left that is below the Litani River. Okay, so to start with, Hezbollah wants a ceasefire, or they want Israel to stop shooting. They might not want to stop shooting, but they want Israel to stop shooting. That's because they have been just decimated over the past couple of months. Obviously, you've seen how Israel has decapitated Hezbollah. They have harmed many of the lower level people. They say that about 3,700 terrorists have been taken out during the course of this conflict in Lebanon. Compare that to 70 Israelis that have lost their lives in the conflict. Again, just shake my head. Guys like Colonel McGregor and Scott Ritter are saying that Israel is losing in the north. I'm not sure how that looks like losing. I put up over at chuckholton.com today video of IDF troops on the Litani River. They made it up to the Litani River today, so they have pushed all the way north, and they're successfully up there. Some naysayers have said that whenever they push into Lebanon, they have to pull right back out again. It would probably take them a solid day to move troops from the border to the Litani River or back. It's not like they can push into the Litani River and then pull out and camp out in Israel overnight. That area has seen dozens of villages completely decimated because they were essentially military bases for Hezbollah. More than 40 of them that are ghost towns in southern Lebanon at this point. Hezbollah received permission from Iran to seek a ceasefire because Iran is looking at all of the money that they have poured into Hezbollah and saying it's all being destroyed. The Israelis are finding and destroying hundreds of rocket launchers, tunnel systems. They hit a dozen command centers. They've been hitting all over the country, especially inside Beirut. At one point, the Israeli Air Force struck 20 targets in 2 minutes' time. They took out all of the bank branches of one particular bank because that bank has been used to fund Hezbollah operations. And they let everybody know first. There were so many strikes that happened in Beirut today. Even though there's this talk of a ceasefire, there are tens of thousands of people who are fleeing the city just because everything's blowing up. That is not what losing looks like, folks. Israel is winning this fight. So let's talk about what the agreement actually says. Here's what we understand about this agreement. It's an agreement between Israel and the United States, the UN, UNIFIL, and the Lebanese. From Amir Tsarfati's channel, he says Israel and the United States intend to share sensitive intelligence concerning violations, including any infiltration by Hezbollah south of the Litani. The United States may share information provided by Israel with other third parties, like the Lebanese government or UNIFIL, to allow them to address the violation. The United States recognizes Israel's right to respond. Israel promises to alert the United States if they're going to strike whenever possible, but not every time. So the language of this truce agreement gives Israel enough leeway that they can strike inside Lebanon without letting the United States know if they feel like it's necessary, or if, because it's a very immediate thing, they see a big rocket launcher set up, they can bomb it first and then tell the U.S. about it later if they need to. And the United States is obligated to cooperate with Israel in order to curb Iran's activities in Lebanon, which includes preventing Iran from shipping more weapons into Lebanon or people. So anything that's coming from Iranian territory through Syria into Lebanon is going to have to spontaneously combust. And Israel will make that happen, and the United States has agreed to assist Israel with that. If we see something coming in, I guess that might mean that even the United States might actually make something spontaneously combust in Syria if they catch stuff that's getting shipped in or smuggled into Lebanon. This so far is not looking like a real bad deal for Israel. Now, in the southern region, Israel reserves the right to act at any time if it sees violations, whether or not they get permission to do it. But they've agreed to at least alert the United States ahead of time whenever possible. So what's good about this and what's bad about this? What's good about it is that Israel managed in a way that does not obligate them to get permission from anybody to keep their people safe. And this is all assuming that Hezbollah chooses to abide by this agreement, because Lebanon is agreeing to make Hezbollah pull back behind the Litani River. That sounds great, but that's exactly what UN Resolution 1701 said, and it was drafted in 2006, and it never worked. So why it will be different this time is anybody's guess. Part of the reason why it'll be different this time is because Hezbollah is on its last legs at this point. If they've had more than 80% of their rocket and missile inventory destroyed or fired, it's no longer there. That's good. If their entire command structure has been wiped out, that's good. Hezbollah is really needing a break at this point. But that also leads to people like Ben Gvir and others on the right in the Israeli government are saying, why are we agreeing to a ceasefire up there when we're winning? There are some good reasons why Israel is disposed to going along with this. Number one, they would really like to turn their focus more toward Iran and not have to fight Hezbollah for the time being. Number two, this should, and emphasis on should, allow Israel to start moving people back to their homes in the north. And that is a big political promise that Netanyahu has been making. Netanyahu, as far as I know, has not claimed that they were going to destroy Hezbollah like he has claimed they would destroy Hamas. That we will not stop, that this war won't be over until Hamas is completely destroyed. He hasn't said that about Hezbollah. But what he has said is that we will not stop until we make it safe for our people to go back to their homes in the north. This agreement, if it holds, may accomplish that, and then they can turn their attentions to dealing with the West Bank, dealing with Iran, dealing maybe with the Houthis even, and not have this constant barrage of incoming across the border from Lebanon. This could be a really good thing. I've been putting up there's a lot of video that's out there. Like I said, you hear guys like Scott Ritter and others claiming that Israel is losing this war, that their whole country is about to collapse, and every time they go into Lebanon, they're getting their heads handed to them. There's plenty of video that proves otherwise. I cannot put that video up on YouTube because it would get this video demonetized, but I am putting that video up over at chuckholton.com. So if you want to see video of Israel blowing stuff up in Lebanon and in Gaza, then you can go and you can see it at chuckholton.com.